What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to do a little tutorial on how I do my podcasts with this whole quarantine thing going on. I've had some people ask me, hey, how do you do your podcasts? You know, would you help me out with one? So I thought, why don't I just do a tutorial on how I do my podcasts? This is the way I do them. I use Luma Fusion on my iPad just because that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I do my video editing on. So I just go ahead and do my audio on there too. There's probably a lot of other apps out there or applications that do just fine, but I use that. So this is going to be Luma Fusion for the editing, and I use Ankor for my host site. So this is going to be a walkthrough on how I do our podcasts with those two applications. So here we go. All right, we're going to start out in the Ankor app. This is the iPad version. It might look a little bit different on the phone, but this is what you're going to see if you're on the iPad. So you're going to start clicking the new record button. You're going to create. We're just going to hit play here. Going to do some sample recording. Just record a few seconds here just so you get an idea of what it looks like. Stop the recording, and we're going to save that. So now it's going to upload. You can put your name in here. We'll just call this one a podcast demo. Now the default has it set to add to episodes, but you want to click the settings button here and switch it over to library. So we're going to save it to our library, and then we'll pick the library tab on the left there, and we want to export the audio. And this will take it out of the Ankor app. It'll let you choose where you want to save it. We're going to scroll down here and click Save to Dropbox. I've already got a folder created. We're going to save it to the podcast demo folder. So once we've got it saved here, we can exit out of Ankor, and now we're going to pull up the Luma Fusion. We're going to start a new project. I've already got one labeled here called podcast demo, so we'll open that up, and then we're going to import files. So when you start to import files here, you just pick which folder your source files are coming from. This is our Dropbox one, so we're going to click on the audio. This is an audio from my brother's podcast that we did earlier. It's a little longer than the demo I just did. So we're going to drag it down into the timeline. Now that we've got it in the timeline here, we can scroll back and forth up top, and it's going to show you the full length of it. Now you just want to find where you want to start your podcast. What do you want to cut out? Here's some recording.
Hello. Josie is connected. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How do I sound?
So I don't want all of that in my podcast. I want to find where I want our intro to start. So I'm going to scrub through a little bit and find where did we actually start talking that we want our podcast to begin at. I've got it marked here with the tab, so I'm going to click it and head on over there. And then I'm going to make a cut here, and we'll play this to make sure this is where I want to be.
What's up?
So that's where our intro started. So I'm going to cut here and then hit delete, and it's going to delete everything before that.
Segue from the restaurants into, my background. I'm here in Pratt, Kansas.
Okay, so we're a little bit, so I need to scroll back and get back to the beginning of this clip. It's a pretty large clip, so you can either keep swiping until you get all the way to the beginning, or you can scroll up top there.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Eastus Brothers podcast. Today we're going to be focusing on...
Okay, so we found where we want to have the intro start. So we'll let that play through a little bit, get to the end of my little intro bit, and then this is where we'll bring in some music. So we'll let this scroll through just a little bit farther. And let's see. Well, looks like the intro is going to stop there, so we're going to cut it. And we're going to put our audio in here where that cuts at. So we'll click on our audio up here that's in our file. Now, I want more of the song, not right from the intro, so I'm going to scrub forward a little bit here and clip it. That way we can get better intro music. Here we go. So that's where we want it to start, somewhere right around there, a little closer. So once you have the kind of spot of the song that you want to pick, you can let it play through a little bit. And then these yellow tabs on each side, that's going to be the part of the clip you're going to drag into your timeline. So there we'll click it. And now we're just bringing that in. And you want to make sure that you put it in between your two clips, not on top of one. Otherwise, it's going to replace it. So we'll drop it in there, put it in between the two, and now we're going to see what that sounds like. Now, a lot of times with the intro music, I kind of want to overlay it. So we want to drag it below it. But in Lumafusion here, in order to do that, you need to check this arrow over here to the side. Otherwise, it's going to snap your other clip right next to it. So that inserts a blank clip when you remove a file there. Now we're going to add a transition to this. That way it fades in and fades out a little bit. So we'll add that fade on the front.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, that's pretty close, but I want it to start.
Goes, so here we go.
Okay, so I like the way that faded in. So now we need to make it fade out the same way. So we'll drag that clip back, overlap it from our intro, and add the same transition to the back end, and that's going to fade it out a little bit. Let's bring it around here, and now we'll see what that sounds like.
All right, let's get into it. So, or go ahead.
Well, I think it's worth pointing to, like, maybe.
So that's pretty close. I want to bring it back just a little bit more. We're going to play with it just a little bit here.
All right, let's get in.
Okay, still want to drag it a little bit more.
All right, let's get.
We're close, so we're going to drag it so there's just a little bit more fade. Now there's too much time in between the intro.
All right, let's get into it. So, or go ahead.
So that's pretty good there. So I'm going to leave that there. And now we're just going to go through the podcast here and let it play with all the audio we've got and see if there's any spots we need to clip out. Sometimes I'll clip out if we've got some long pauses where we just are thinking of things to talk about, or if we're talking over each other. So we'll kind of look for my gaps here.
Yeah, all right, Bo, Josie, I'm here, or we're here talking.
So there, if I wanted to cut that out, we could stop it.
I'm here, or we're here talking. Josie, why don't you give a little brief intro of kind of your position, and so people can understand your view.
Yeah,
So here we'll go back here and show you how to cut out one of those spots. So we'll scroll through, see if there's any long pauses.
I'm in probably the biggest of the metropolitan areas between us. I mean, of all of us, obviously, but it's a.
All right, so I'm going to cut that out. So we'll just cut there, click the middle clip and delete it.
Obviously, it's a different situation, definitely.
And that just cleans it up a little bit.
It is, I think, for both of you guys when we think job security and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Our Leavenworth County.
So here's another spot where we were kind of talking over each other. So I'm going to cut the beginning of that, cut the end of it, and we'll just clip out that middle part and see what it sounds like.
Like that. Leavenworth County, the county that I'm in, just had 2 positive tests today. So, I mean,
So once you've gone through your whole podcast and listened to it and decided what you want to cut out and how much you want to edit, then it's time to end it. So we're going to cut this one here and insert an ending. We're going to go back up to our source files and pick our music. Now I try to use the ending of a song just because it naturally fades out. So we're going to scroll to the end here and see what we got. So we can work with that. So we'll drag that clip, bring it down, and again, we're going to overlap it a little bit. Now we're going to go back to our transitions, add that fade. So we're going to fade into it so it's not so harsh off the bat. We'll drop that on the front of that audio clip and see what we get. We're going to space it a little bit here, drag it there, and now we'll give it a listen and see what it sounds like.
That's today.
Okay, so I want a little bit more of the music. So we're going to click it and just drag it left, and it's going to extend the song. Place it, and here we go.
Test today.
So I'm happy with that. Now it's time to export it.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to.
That was just playing through the beginning a little bit, but we'll click export down here in the bottom, and we're just going to export the audio only. We're not doing a full movie. So we're going to export this to files. I'm going to save it to a Dropbox link, and we'll name it podcast demo. It's going to render. And we'll just choose which file we want to export this to. Like I said, I'm going to swipe up here, get to our Dropbox account, podcast demo, and we'll click save here. Now that we've got it saved in Lumafusion, we want to go back to Ankor and start a new episode. So we want to import a file here. Now we just need to locate the file we just saved. So we'll find our Dropbox, whatever folder you stored it in. Mine's podcast demo. We're going to click on that, click on the file, and it's going to upload. We'll let this one upload. Still uploading. Should have speed ramped this. Okay, we're done. So now it's uploaded. All you got to do now is hit the plus button. And no, not the plus button. You want to hit the settings button there. Maybe it is a plus button. So you hit the plus button. It's going to drop it over to the right into your new episode. Once it's over there, hit publish. You're ready to go. You can name it. We'll name this one podcast demo here. And if we were going to upload this one for real, we would hit done. And then we would click publish now. And that's it. That's all it takes. Thanks for watching. If you're stuck at home, quarantined, wanting to start a podcast, this is how I do mine. I hope it helped you out. I use Lumafusion and Ankor. Like I said, you wouldn't even have to use Lumafusion. I think it's $50 for an app, which sounds expensive for an app, but for video editing, it's pretty cheap. Ankor's free, and you can do a lot on there. I don't think you can do in the middle of your clip. I think you can only trim the front and the back end. That's why I like to export it to Lumafusion, because then I can cut out pieces in the middle and then take it back into Ankor. But if you're wanting to start a podcast and don't want to do much editing, Ankor's pretty simple. I definitely recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped somebody out and hope this gets you into podcasting. So I'll tune in if so.